like that. So I had to get to the truth. Don't get my feelings about you.
So good day, good morning, good night, good evening, whatever time of the day that you're listening or viewing this podcast. Welcome back to the Pulp. This is episode number
2.
Episode number 2, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a
we
journey.
made it to number 2.
It's been a journey so far.
Very short journey, but we
Very
made it.
short, but we make
Very
it.
short journey.
Some people don't.
And we are going on. Come on. We're going to go
Some people
up
don't reach
to...
number 2
Yeah, some people will reach number 2.
in a race.
Yeah.
Some people don't reach number 2. So, but yeah, so we're back. Just trying to bring, again, everything on the orange economy, everything on the, I think, Cassell's new favorite 3-letter word.
CCI.
CCI. It's on the culture and creative
CCI,
industries.
come on.
Okay, nobody have time to say that.
When I
all
got
the
it from
time.
you, when you were doing up the scripts, I saw CCI, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool, you know.
But I think I just put that, honestly, just because I
didn't
don't
wanna
want to
type.
type out culture and creative industries. You know,
But,
I think I've
I
seen
mean,
it in other spaces, but
CCI
it's
is
like,
so cool. Like,
CCI.
yeah, CCI.
maybe we could
Yeah.
get people to start saying
Start
CCI
using
a little bit
CCI,
more. So if you
yeah,
hear CCI,
You know what we're talking
you
about.
know, it's from the Pulp.
Cultural creative.
You know, it's
industries.
Cassell's,
Cassells.
cultures,
Come on, let's not go back to Mona Jamaica, please. It's Cassell. If you want to call me something else, you could say Hekaya, you know? Come on.
Pick up Hekaya.
Come
you know?
on. Oh,
Sure.
by now, Elevator Love, my single for 2020, would have been out. Come on. Go listen to it. Hekaya. It's a big song.
The squeeze. And guys, as we're talking about 2020, we see that Cassell, or Hekaya,
Yeah.
has been keeping himself busy.
Come on.
But in this 2020 period, we have been faced with a challenge or an opportunity, because we're seeing that you're taking advantage of it,
Yes.
of none other than, by now everyone should know it, COVID-19,
Oh,
coronavirus, anti-rona, ronas, right?
However you want to
However
say.
you want to call it, she, him, her, that.
That, yeah.
Coronavirus is here.
Coronavirus,
And I
it's
think
here.
more so in Trinidad
Yeah.
and Tobago, we have seen over the past couple weeks community spread happening. We have seen community spread been taking place. You know, when we first had like the lockdown and all the measures, so to speak, being put in place, nothing was really happening in the country in terms of, you know, the virus is here and spreading. It's really precautionary.
Yeah, but everything was imported, so it was
Yeah.
controlled at that point in
It
time.
definitely was controlled,
You
so
know?
that's why I think we didn't feel for weeks upon weeks that anything was happening, or we didn't really believe that the Ronas was here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Ronas is here, and
Exactly.
guys, once again, we're just encouraging everybody. You know, we would have just had a election season some weeks ago. Like, please, just, it's not hard to sanitize.
Not hard at all.
And I actually personally believe that, or wish that once the Ronas blow over, whether it takes 2 years or however long,
Yeah.
I do hope that some cultural norms that we adopted remain.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Agreed.
the just washing your hands constantly, I hope
Constantly.
that remains a thing, or sanitizing constantly.
Yeah.
Even just to reduce community
Spread.
spread of the more common cold and these type of things.
Yeah.
Just cut down those things, and like would not now be abnormal for us to see someone with a mask. Let's say if you just feel a little bit fluish and you just want to protect yourself and your family.
Exactly.
When you're mask, I'm gonna work out and you're maxi, nobody watching your how more like last
Anymore.
year we would have been like, Dan, what going on with
Yeah.
them? You know?
Yeah.
But more so with all of that happening, and yes, we're gonna adopt social distancing, etc. Back to CCI, COVID definitely has had a serious times, as Gypsum said, right? A serious impact. Serious times. Yeah, a serious impact. Okay, yeah, serious guys. A serious impact on the industry. People not having jobs. And more so because a lot of things in the culture and creative industries, this orange economy, a lot of things are project-based, project-driven. You know, it's not 9 to 5, so to speak.
Or even that face-to-face.
Exactly.
That face-to-face ability.
Interaction.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The contact, how culture is usually experienced. How Caribbean culture and Trinbagonian culture is experienced is very touchy-feely.
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very touchy-feely. Very,
Touchy-feely.
very emotional and get yourself involved.
Expressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as opposed to just, taking a backseat. And, it's affected us. We know the biggest touchy-feely event that we have. Carnival.
I mean, it's not just Carnival because
Yeah.
later on this year you have Parak Festival, you have Ram Leela, you have
Husey.
you have I will know Best Village might have been happening.
Mhm.
It's so many things under the CCI that would have been happening if it wasn't for COVID at this point in time.
Yeah.
But obviously, most people would look towards Carnival being probably the most prominent festival in Trinidad and Tobago. So,
And I think more so not just because, it is the most prominent festival, but in one sense, 2020, Trinidad seems to be like the only country, at least within like the diaspora and the Trinidad style carnivals, who actually was able to execute their carnival before really hit.
Exactly.
We would have seen just a few weeks ago, even like with Notting Hill Carnival, they had like a digital version.
Yeah.
And, all these various carnivals, St. Lucia, Crop Over, everyone had to cancel.
Yeah.
So Carnival naturally, with Trinidad and Tobago, is like this expectation of what is happening for 2021.
Based on what has been happening on the trend, no, we have to wait on the CMO. And then I guess whatever he decides, then the government would make whatever decision at that point in time. So it's not up to NCC whether or not we want to have it.
Yeah.
If you understand what I mean.
But I think what they're looking for NCC for guidance on is exactly what they can do, because I do believe that, let's just say for the February-March typical carnival timeline, I do believe that our carnival does have elements which can still be executed based on social distancing. Based on the events which are not as touchy-feely, like a Calypso Monarch. Maybe even like Panorama, which the performance aspect is not as touchy-feely, but like we know the track is definitely touchy-feely. So there are aspects which I think traditional carnival, those performances, the more observation type, but when you see the real participatory events, which is the private sector carnival, I would say really the mass bands and the fets. So there are elements that can be executed, and there are other elements which is cause for concern. But I think just regardless of whether NCC makes a decision or not, like we were having a conversation before, in terms of timeline, again, you would have had now, and this is again showing the impact of COVID on the sector, for some of the mass bands and fets in particular, which I would always say at the moment is what really drives the carnival industry. And what a lot of people are coming to participate in, and maybe definitely earns the most amount of revenue. The timeline for people to execute an event between now and February with uncertainty is going to be very difficult. Yes, we know that anything that happens in 2021 is not going to be like 2020 how Trinidad Carnival was, or in the past, but I think it's a risk, you have to call it that these entities are faced with, because a lot of them, I don't want to say that they're in it for money by no means, but they're definitely in it to also make a profit, to earn something off it, because these are people's bread and butter. They are not supported by a government subvention, right? Of if you're working in state carnival and you're kind of guaranteed certain things.
Like that,
So now you have people who stage events at various carnivals throughout the year, and that's earning income for them. You have the Caesar's Army with ambush in different locations, so brainwash in different locations. Now these events have not happened internationally, so now you're taking a risk financially to now stage an event, and you enjoy how much you're gonna make out. If it's a really risky situation. So I think whether or not a decision is made as yet, some people have to make a decision on their own that I just cannot take part in this again.
And I'm actually glad that you mentioned mass makers and event promoters, but even for a producer, even for an artist, even for I think event planner, or however you want to put it, like these people, the artist would be like a primary person in the CCI, but someone like a sound engineer, he's secondary. Like if there is no event, then obviously he can't perform, or he can't do whatever he's
Yeah.
hired to do. So it's going to affect from the primary aspect to the secondary aspect of the CCI when it comes to Carnival and any other festival-oriented thing happening within Trinidad and Tobago from now till 2021. So for instance, in the parent fraternity, parent is Christmas is what, a mere months away. Like, I have no idea what is going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm coming from the perspective of a manager of a band. And we normally, this last couple of months in the year, we normally generate most of our income at that point in time. Considering now that businesses...
And you'll also be rehearsing from
from
months in advance too.
Months in advance. And I'm now thinking, okay, even if we were allowed to have events over 25 persons in a space, would businesses really find it smart to actually have a Christmas function and hire bands, engineers, people selling food to come and have a Christmas event?
Yeah.
Because this year has been a basically low economical year for most organizations. Like I can't see people having events of any large magnitude during the Christmas period. And the same thing goes for Diwali and Nagar. Like Diwali again is coming up soon. Are we going to have the big Nagar coming up there? Is it smart to do that at this point in time and any other festival? Is it smart? Like, what are we going to do? How is it going to occur at this point in time? And then coming off of that now, you have the secondary persons, the food stalls, the crafts people that might sell in the Nagar or in the festival. Like, what is happening with them? How are they going to survive? Where are they going to get money from? So I think, as we said earlier on, is COVID at this point in time, is it a benefit for most people or is it like a loss? Because you know for sure you have majority of the CCIs losing, but then I'm 100% sure you have certain people within the CCI benefiting in some way or the other.
On that, I had been really thinking about, everything is going digital now.
Everything.
Right? I mean, guys, this podcast is digital, right? So we have visuals as well.
Yeah.
Everybody is filming, etc. So I do think if there's any, persons with any sector who may have benefited the most, I mean, they still may not have benefited as much as if COVID was not here. Yeah. But, just big up every videographer and producer and people in the broadcasting sector who, still has to film news, still has to, broadcast political rallies and these type of things, or people going into content creation. Like, you still need live streaming and people to do that type of work. So everyone is now, and every brand is now jumping on that to execute. So I think perhaps they have been the ones who have still been the most active, are a little bit more secured of, we know it have people out there looking for video footage and opportunities, that type of thing. But I think it's important, but something you said a little while ago, and just made a little light bulb go off in my head.
What's that?
Just about, seeing, I'm really trying to remember, guys, but
let me even interject there, because I heard you mention videographers but you also have to remember that not every videographer or content creator may get a job during this period.
Correct.
So yes, you have some of them.
But I think they stand a better chance of getting a job than somebody else.
In comparison
to a dancer.
You understand?
Yeah.
But even if we're going on that digital landscape now, everything is digital. You're having a digital concert, a digital show. Yes, you could hire an artist to come and perform. You could hire a sound engineer to come and do whatever, a lightsman, a cameraman, or whatever the case may be. But it's only going to benefit us a small portion of persons. It's only going to benefit a small portion.
But I don't think anybody, unfortunately, at this point, may be doing any projects that is really that large scale as before. But I'm not remember what I was thinking was, while we have definitely lost economically in this period, which is a serious thing. I mean, by now I think we have learned or should have learned the lessons of COVID in the CCI, but it's just really if we're going to put it into practice. I think the thing that we have gained is time.
Oh, yeah.
For most people working in the sector, I can even just talk about myself with Carnivals being cancelled. As much as I want it to start back up and the income generation that I know I receive out of it as well, I have been grateful for
Time.
the time to now do other things, the time to now record a podcast, the time to now projects and things that passion projects, and I think it's still good because with the CCI and orange economy, and you're dealing with money, and there's always this debate of money versus passion. I think COVID is kind of trying to, I don't want to say balance that out, but now you're kind of able to now express culture just for like the passionate side of it. Just put your energy and your time into things to rethink and regroup.
Because exactly, no, the people who are actually passionate about it are the ones who you're going to see putting the effort to do something in the downtime. Like, for example, like myself, yes, in 2018 I released my first song. 2019 came, I had nothing, and 2020 Carnival, I had nothing for 2020 Carnival, but because of COVID, I was able to actually make time to go to the studio and go and record something. And I guess it goes back now to the who has benefited and who has lost. Because, as you said, yes, the passion, persons who are passionate about DCCI or whatever they do would stand a chance now to actually continue doing it, but on a downscale, because they love to do it. And it's not just about income stream or whatever the case is, but it's just my love for doing this particular thing have me now using my downtime to do it and to get better at it. So you're looking at persons who benefited and lost. That is someone who may have benefited in a particular way, that they got the time to work on their craft. Let's take the example of somebody who wants to get into the fashion. And they just never had time to do that. Whether they had an 8 to 4, and they had to go to work every day, so that by the time they come home, they're too tired. They have so many things happening in and around their lives that COVID happened, and they actually got time to sit down by a sewing machine to sew their first outfit. That outfit can now be posted on some social media platform where somebody may say, hey, I want to buy that from you. In comparison to the person who already had an established business, and because of COVID, persons are obviously not going to be spending a lot of money, and they're going to definitely lose some way or the other. Because, I mean, you have a business, you have bills to pay, and because of that, nobody paying nothing, you just there to stand still. But hopefully the passion is better or exceeds the money, I guess, so that they can continue building on their craft or their art or whatever they do.
More than anything, I do believe that COVID-19 has forced us to sort of kind of think outside the box and to be innovative, which again is, I think, a big factor when you're talking about CCIs. And we had the opportunity to speak to Kez Styles, right? Fashion stylist, wardrobe stylist, creative director. Just a bit of how COVID has impacted her, and she did speak a bit about having to be innovative. So we're gonna go to that clip with Kezia right about now and just hear how her experience has been.
Regards to now working around those drawbacks, I did have to find new innovative ways of still doing what I love, and what is ideally my career, which is a wardrobe stylist and creative director. So during COVID-19, parts of that started to be done more virtually or digitally than I've ever had to do before. I had people like news anchors and stuff like that I had to still style and make sure they were presentable for the news on a daily basis, and for some TV programs. And I had to then have virtual styling sessions with them. That was much different than me normally going by their homes or meeting them at work and styling the pieces that they have there, which meant that they had to do a bit of the work by showing me what they have, etc. So I had to get innovative in that way and still do a bit of virtual styling. Also just finding ways to create opportunities to let people know about fashion digitally. Um, that was probably the biggest thing I had to do in terms of working around COVID-19 around that time. Just finding ways to make my service something that could be accessed digitally and be deemed still very relevant during the time, which I began to get a handle on during the lockdown.
See, like exactly what she had to go through, like
Yeah.
having to reinvent the wheel somewhat, or
Somewhat,
still being
yeah.
able to make this work. And
Yeah.
as you would have seen, the need to maximize your potential digitally and virtually now, whether
Yeah.
it is creating campaigns, whether it is just putting content out there to remain
but
relative
you
and
see-
to earn from it where you can.
But then, and that also enables another aspect of the CCI, the content creator, because she may not have the knowledge per se to run a Instagram page or a Facebook
Mhm.
page or a YouTube page. So she now, based on what she decided to do, could hire someone else
Yeah.
to help her. So I guess that's where it works in a way, or works in a sense.
Yeah.
So, seeing that we're talking about digitization, um, we also had a conversation about creating this virtual stage or virtual shop for our artists or bands, to actually have somewhere where they can perform, do a live stream, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever the case may be, and have people pay a donation fee to see, or a fee just to see them perform. You're going to have people who want to see or want to hear a param or soca,
Yeah.
or whatever type of music. So why not create that virtual stage? And actually, I'm seeing some persons doing it. I'm seeing Kenny doing it at work.
Yeah.
I saw
Like
Iowa
every Friday,
created.
if I'm not mistaken.
I saw Iowa created Iowa stage. I know for sure that the National Apparel Association is also going to create something, and to add to that, what about a virtual shop? I mean, yes, we have websites, etc. But a lot of our fashion designers, a lot of our crafts people, or whoever it may be, do they have websites? Are
Mhm.
they fully utilizing the social media platforms to sell their product? And like that's a big question now. So I'm hoping that because of this downtime through COVID, that these entrepreneurs are taking time to realize the importance of it, and hoping that
Yeah.
they learn the lesson of, yo, I can't slack off on doing something like that, or putting money into
Mhm.
creating a brand for me online. Because once you have that brand established, then that in itself would get you your passive income,
Yeah.
in comparison to you now having to have your shop, have people working for that whole active income aspect of it, or for a band having to have waiting for someone to hire them to go to their house or go to their
Mhm.
place of to go to their company to go and perform. That is the passive income
Yeah.
side of it, the active income. Sorry, and then even for some artists, Kearn, most people, are they aware the benefits of being a member of a copyright society like CUT and earning royalties?
Mhm.
What about Ministry of Legal Affairs and registering your
Trademarks,
trademarks
exactly.
and
These
all of
things
the
which bring value to your brand as well.
exactly.
And even on that point, it's in one sense it helps to legitimize your brand
Your
and your
brand,
business on
yeah.
paper. More so where we are seeing that we have had government grants
Yeah.
and or banks or with loans, etc. But when you come to these institutions,
Yeah.
you can't just come with,
Hey, I want a loan for my
hi, I paint 5 pictures or I made all these
Exactly.
wonderful crafts and let that be, what
Exactly.
justifies it.
Exactly.
People want to see things like, whether it is simple bank accounts, inflow and outflow of cash to see, your business registered.
Exactly.
Things like trademarks just would make anyone want to kind of trust you more because
Trust
you
you
are
more.
taking
Money.
this
Yeah.
a little bit seriously.
Yeah.
So it's really part of that the formal aspect of this industry and taking these informal jobs in one sense, legitimate informal jobs, and making it formal legitimate as well, so that you can benefit in the long run, as opposed to just operating in a yeah man, I know a man that is so good, I know this person is do this good. You know, like,
Understand.
and we have a lot of that, a lot of that. You know, and it's good and it's great, but I think it's just is also necessary for people to be aware of, you know, taking it to the next level. And I hope through COVID that people would have done so. Now, no knock to anyone who hasn't, because it's also just been a difficult period for people. Yeah. And sometimes just trying to keep up with the game of being on digital media and staying relevant, it could be really tiring for others. So for some people, this downtime has just really been to get their peace of mind and to relax and to just kind of take a step back from it. Yeah. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you're just like not ever going to work. You know, take the relaxation and the rest. The reality is COVID is probably going to be here forever.
For some
we
time.
will eventually get a vaccine, that type of thing, but
still be
around and may still affect us in some way. So it's important to still know that we have to get up on our feet and go back out there, do the work. And the times that things may be up and down a bit, we may go in lockdown, come back from lockdown, go in lockdown, come out from lockdown, just to still try to stay afloat as best as possible.
And I mean, I want to add to that, because I know we have some creatives that when COVID started, like, they just got so demotivated to do anything, to create, right? That's what we do, we create. And they needed time to put themselves back in that frame of mind to know what they need to get up. Yeah. And they need to start going. And I think now is the time where they have to get up.
I said that and I was thinking about the Calypso, now is the time. You could probably play that in your outro, but...
You could probably... Yeah. But now is the time. Yeah. Now is the time.
Now is the time. Anyways, I guess now is the time to wrap up too.
Yeah, now is the time to wrap up.
No? I think now is the time to wrap up.
I mean, we've been talking, right? So, yeah, we need to wrap up.
But I do hope at the end of the day that, you know, we all, bounce back up and we all within this sector, regardless of our position as an actual, if you want to say frontline artist, everyone in the background, that we, is we have to keep the thing alive and running.
We all in this together, bro.
We all in this together.
We can tell me about that top, though.
Oh, well, I don't know if the cameras can see. I guess they can, but... much respect to individual aesthetic. At individual Keegan, Simon. Keegan. I think it's important. And all of this with COVID too, a big thing is to support local. I've always been a big supporter, big fan of Keegan. So y'all can check out his work for his designs. He has his COVID period, guys. He has the most, and I'm not saying this just because a friend thing and this but the man, his COVID mask. Legit. I mean, it had the design, but it is super comfortable. Like, I actually forget it's on my face. I'm not making up. Yeah, I actually forget it's on my face.
Keegan.
So
link a mask for your boy.
Yeah.
Come on.
So we want to thank you all for tuning into episode number 2 of the Pulp. Thank you so much for being a part of the short journey so far. And continue to listen out, to watch, to listen, subscribe, all the nice things everyone says online these days. But ensure to keep abreast of what we are doing on this series, what we are doing in our lives. You can check me out at Kearn Chris, Kearn. I'll keep spelling it out. Kearn Chris on Instagram, and at Kearn_Chris on Twitter. And also you can check out my website, www.kearnchristopher.com, just to get a little bit more information on me and some blog posts that I would be writing to just continue these conversations.
I mean, your last 2 blogs. Fire, bro.
You kick up some stuff somewhere, but, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You can follow me at Hekaya Music on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Hit me up, ask a question, shout me out. I'm here anytime, available to answer any questions, queries. And that's it.
Yeah, man, Hekaya's our office.
Come on.
Anytime. But more so, go and check out his new song.
Yes,
for sure.
Elevator Love, guys. Give me some views. Hekaya. I must have song like it,
So this has been The Pulp.
Giving you the juice in culture.
So I had to get to the truth. Don't get my feelings about you. What you done to me? Mine just cannot believe. Special thing that I feel. Good to speak, I must read. One never knew so strong. This energy can't be wrong. Say, call you are the light of my darkness.